right, everybody, as you saw in that graphic, it is time for Candidate Conversations, where I have the distinct duty, honor, and privilege of being joined by outstanding Guamanians who are running for your endorsement. As we head into the November 8th general election, of course, we've introduced you to many, many Republicans, many, many Democrats. We have one representative from each party with me this morning. I have here Roy Quinata, who finished a very, very impressive sixth on the Democrat side of the ballot. Hafa day, Roy.
Hafa day, Jason. Thank you for having us.
Okay, and you broke out like the A-level Sanahi. I love that. How heavy is that? Because I've worn a couple Sanahis here on the show.
Not heavy.
Is it not at all? I wore one time. It was like, like traditional spondylus.
Mm-hmm.
By the end of the show, like my posture was just like crazy. Yeah. But I mean, if you can represent our culture in that way, that is absolutely beautiful.
Well, we got to represent it and also be always for it. Our culture is our identity, and our language is also the umbilical cord of any culture. So, practica then protege.
Absolutely, and I know that's part of your platform. So we'll get into that. But welcome back, Roy, and congratulations to you. All right, and Ken Leon Guerrero, of course, running as a Democrat. Ken, you finished 13th. You do advance.
I'm actually running as a Republican.
I'm sorry, beg your pardon. Republican, yeah. I'm trying to get all my ducks in a row factually and everything. I would say, Ken, it's been a rather interesting last week and a half for you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's address that for just a second, right? Because you were involved in a little bit of a dust up at the Guam Memorial Hospital board meeting.
Yes.
Had to go down to the precinct and booked and released, of course, and everything. Some people would say that is the death knell for a political career. Other people would say it's an opportunity with which you can promote your ability to fight for the issues upon which you stand. So go ahead and talk about that.
I think it's definitely a confirmation, because this wasn't my first rodeo.
Sure.
In other words, I have been battling with politicians, political machines, administrations, legislatures for 15 years. And what happened here is unfortunate, but it shows the level of contempt our politicians have for our people. I received an agenda for a planning meeting, a strategic planning meeting for Guam Memorial Hospital. As you may have known, I've been all over Guam Memorial Hospital since 2012.
You have.
And when I saw this meeting, I went to this meeting because I have been trying to get all this information out into the public. I've had a number of FOIAs. I have had a number of meetings with different people trying to get the information out into the public. So when I got this agenda, I went to Guam Memorial Hospital at 8 o'clock to go to this meeting. They told me the construction planning meeting is at the Hyatt. So I had them call the Hyatt and let them know I'm coming, and everything kind of cascaded after that. So if we get a chance to talk about it, I'd love to, because it's symptomatic.
Absolutely. So what real quickly though, I can give you 10 seconds for this, but what would you say to your detractors particularly? Because of course your supporters are going to stick with you no matter what, but the people that said Ken's crazy, that was absolutely, like it kind of flies in the face of public sector, protocol and everything like that. What would you say to them?
When politicians hide behind closed doors to make decisions and how to spend our money, we need to have someone in the room. As we saw with the pay raises, a group of politicians met behind closed doors, gave themselves massive retroactive pay raises that cost taxpayers tens of millions of dollars. This could cost us billions of dollars.
Now, to be fair, you have basically said that you're not in this and getting involved with the political process on Guam as a popularity contest and everything. You're willing to stick your neck out there. So
absolutely,
okay.
And everybody should, because one thing that we have in this community, a pervasive fear, and Thomas Jefferson said it best: when the people fear the government, there's tyranny. When the government fears the people, there's freedom and liberty. Right now, here on this island, the people fear the government.
Okay, interesting thoughts. All right, let's go to Roy, and let's talk about some issues now, Roy, because again, in addition to platforms and issues and everything, like you said, you're all about the culture. You want to perpetuate that, make cultural learning available to local students. What did you learn from your first few months on the campaign trail as far as the other issues that people are expecting you? And did you get any kind of feedback as far as, what people want to see you fight for?
Definitely. So the campaign trail has definitely been positive for me. I'm a new face, definitely a new new person for a lot of people. Everyone wants to get to know me. So I guess the campaign trail has been very much not new to me, but a lot of people are finding a new candidate and a new face to get to know. So again, I'm appreciative of the opportunity that KOM continues to reach out to us candidates to give our platform and give our perspective on our ideas and agenda. And I think this campaign trail is it's a very educational platform. Every day is a different education item, and when we meet our elders, from our nannies to our nanas, we're always learning something new. You know, the kids inspire me. I just was at Talafofo Fiesta this past weekend, and Biba San Miguel, Biba Talafofo.
Oh man, you probably ate really, really well.
You know, the kids, they're really excited to see me, and I'm like, wow, you know, I don't even know these kids, but they're all, hey, Mr. Roy, you're that guy on that billboard. We're really, you know, we're voting for you. You know, they don't vote, but the family and the mom, the dad are all gonna follow suit with the kids, you know, and that's my inspiration. That's my motivation, is to pave a better foundation for the next generation. And I'm hopeful with the opportunity to serve the island, I can do good by my people and do good for this island, so that the next generation doesn't face the same problems our generation currently faces.
All right, well done. Okay, let's go. Let's aim for 60 seconds for these responses now, and I'll go to Ken for this next question. Ken, a lot of people would say, or they do say, and I would say the data supports it, that crime is on such a rise right now. Like it's only getting worse. So if you are elected as one of the 15, people are going to say, okay, you know, we saw you stick your neck out on the GMH issue and everything. When it comes to keeping residents safe and being able to live a quality of life that we're happy with and everything, what are you going to do to fight crime?
Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fund the creation and development of 40 to 50 drug detection dog teams. Because right now we have 4. We just recently bought 2 more or 3 more. You know, the city of Reno, Nevada has 24 drug detection dogs. There's only 3 ways drugs get onto our island: the airport, the harbor, and mail. And what we need to do is have 24-hour supervision. Every container before it leaves the port needs to be screened and sniffed. Every package that comes through this island needs to be screened and sniffed, not just when there's a dog on duty. Then we need to have these drug teams go through all government of Guam facilities and schools and everything like they do on the base. On the base, every building is subject to random inspection by drug detection.
It's true.
When you consider how much drugs are trafficked here in government agencies, starting with Homeland Security, where a security guard at Homeland Security was importing meth through Homeland Security.
Now, real quick, Ken, follow-up question. Is this doable, given the financial position of Gov Guam now, to augment, you know, customs and possibly, like, you know, like our friends down at the port with more staff, in this case, you know, like
You mean
canines?
Carve out $50,000? 10 dogs would be $50,000. So we got 300 plus million sitting in the bank. I'm sure the government could take 50,000 to keep our people safer when we took 20 million to improve the tourist facility at Tumon at Ipao Beach. Really?
Okay.
That's a priority.
All right.
Over keeping our people safe. I think we need to rearrange our priorities.
Okay, well stated. So, Roy, I'd like to talk to you about public safety too, because, you know, you said you had a wonderful time down at the Fiesta from the South. I mean, that's an island tradition. You know, you go down there, there's a hospitality. You can go to someone's house who you never know before, and after you finish, you know, amening everybody, you know, they make you feel at home. That's the way we grew up, right?
Yeah.
If crime continues, I would dare say that kind of thing, you know, people are going to be like a little bit on edge about exactly who they let into their home, and that's really, really sad. So what do you propose to do about crime?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I understand where you're coming from. I grew up in a family compound in Barragata, never needing to lock our doors, you know, leaving our door open, because we're in a family compound. Really, we're not that big on what we're going to borrow from each other. More or less, our cars never needed to be locked, right? We just one click, maybe not even a click, but nowadays we're like psychotic. We got to go lock our door like 4 times before we go to sleep, and even right before we go to sleep, lock it again, right? So I think we all are unfortunately in a position where we're concerned about our safety on a daily, right? And we definitely need to work on it. We need to invest in more personnel, I think. Our officers have been doing the best they can with what they have. So we definitely need to put more funding into the officers and more cycles, so that our officers are not overworked and tired out. I agree with Mr. Leon Guerrero that we need to invest in maybe more kennels and more dogs to operate a higher caliber of search and seizure. So, you know, I think we all need to take a proactive approach as well. You know, If you see something, say something, because we all need to work as a community. This is a community effort. GPD cannot be at everyone's house for 24 hours.
Yep.
I mean, realtor, I mean, not, I think it was the Chambers question, or no, I'm sorry, take it back. I think it was with Mr. Letty. He asked us, what would we do for the business community? And I said, the business community is not the only objective for GPD to be protecting. And it's not just GPD's objective to protect. We all have to do our part. We have to protect each other, be our big brother to big sister for each other. You know,
Okay, we got to wrap it up real quick. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, well done. All right, guys, let's talk about island education now, because Ken, I like the fact that you, and appreciate that, how you brought up $300 million in the bank, right? How that's going to be distributed and dispersed and everything like that. Men way smarter than I am have been trying to figure that one out for quite some time now. How much of that do you want to actually give to public education as far as improving schools, improving the education system itself, you know, recruiting top-notch educators, administrators, and everything like that to hopefully elevate the level of public education?
Well, we have three problems we need to address in education. First is our plant is falling apart. Every building is falling apart. We have over $100 million of identified physical discrepancies that have not been addressed. But they've got the funding to address them, but my understanding is they took that money and used it for pay raises. So the buildings are going to continue to deteriorate. That's the first problem we have to address. The second problem is we need to improve the quality of the compensation and benefits for our teachers, because they are leaving us in droves. I mean, I think we had a recruitment, DOE was trying to replace 300 people before this school year started. And my daughter-in-law is a teacher. I know she's getting reach outs from communities in the mainland, but fortunately she's going to stay here because this is her home. We need to keep our teachers here. We need to make them want to stay here, and we need to improve their skill set, because they are creating the next generation of leaders, and they don't have the tools to do it.
All right, well done, Ken. So Roy, your thoughts on public education. You are a product of public education, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I graduated from Simon Sanchez. You're also an alumni from
That's
there.
right. Our school is literally falling apart,
Yes.
man. I mean, you know, and that's not, you know, we're not just being like homers as far as, you know, home of the Sharks and everything like that. I mean, it is one of several campuses, that probably being the foremost among them, that really needs help. So what are you proposing?
So first and foremost, my mom's a teacher. Thank you to all the educators, all the faculty and staff that continue to pave the road for the next generation.
Yes.
We are appreciative of each and every one of you's continued support and efforts. So definitely, we again need to invest in the dignity of our teachers and our faculty and staff. You know, we honestly are always giving teachers the upper hand in the educational side, right? But we've always unfortunately forgotten about the faculty and staff. They're half the time always missing out. They're always that 1% that skipped out on a lot of opportunities. So I think we need to invest in our school maintenance programs. We can buy beautiful schools like JFK, but if we don't have maintenance plans for our island's buildings and facilities, it's just gonna crumble. Give it another 10 years. It's beautiful when we do ribbon cuttings and everything. We see the plans, just like the museum. They're beautiful buildings, but once we have them, we fail to maintain them.
Exactly.
We have
good point.
You know, mind my language, bird shit falling from the ceiling. We have classrooms with ceiling tiles. I was in classrooms without ceiling tile. We had sky roof like this. It was supposed to have ceiling tile, but it never had ceiling tile because, you know, they don't have enough funding. You know, DOE is a huge complex operation. I applaud Francis Santos for taking the helm of it right now, but we definitely need to work with DOE, and not only the administrators, also the teachers and the students. The students will answer.
Okay.
You ask them, they'll answer to you.
All right. Thank you, Roy, for stirring comments. All right, let's go to our video questions now. And the first one comes to us from Jonathan right over there in Compadres Mall.
Half a day. My name is Jonathan. I work here at Compadres Mall. For those running for office, what can you do to lower the cost of utilities?
All right, so let's go to Ken first. Jonathan, of course, asking about island utilities. A lot of people, obviously, power, water of critical importance. Internet, too.
Yeah.
A lot of people believe is a core utility.
Yeah, but let's focus on the ones that government of Guam controls.
Sure.
And the ones that government of Guam controls are water and power. I'm in favor of selling the utilities like we sold Guam Telephone Authority. In fact, Guam is one of the rare areas where the government still owns utilities. And as we know, government is not the low-cost provider in things like this. Government of Guam doesn't have the bonding skills that something like California Edison has. California Edison can borrow money cheaper and more money, and plus they have a deeper bench of skill sets that they can bring out here to Guam. We need to look at what the core missions of the government of Guam are, eliminate the things that are not part of the core missions of government of Guam, because we regulate it. We regulate the utilities, we regulate the prices, but what we can't regulate is the cost. You would think that by now, after all this time, we do a better job at regulating the cost of our utilities, but we don't, because it's politics.
All right, very fair. Thank you, Ken. I know comparable market sizes to ours too. In many states, they use the co-op model too, so
Yeah.
that might be something to consider. All right, Roy, your thoughts on how to lower the cost of utilities, especially in days like this where everything's going up.
Well, definitely. So thank you for that question. So, I think we need to invest in free, right? In free power source. We have sun 90% of the year, right? Very rare do we have a non-sunny day. So I think we need to invest in solar panels. When GPA built the solar farm down in what's that place? Back Road. It's definitely pushing a lot of free power into the grid, right? Of course, we need to make the initial investment in the solar panel and the battery cells, but I think that investment is definitely worthwhile. It's something that will be continuous, and we just need to, again, invest in maintenance plans for all of these solar panels. I think we also need to invest on roofing our facilities so that we can also mediate the temperatures in classrooms and the GovGuam buildings. Again, the government buildings are going to be easy to make MOUs with to establish power grid sourcing for the schools. I think also we can invest in, I was in Arizona this past summer, so I think we can also get parking lots established for solar panel grids so that they can also be powering up the buildings that are there. Because parking lots are huge absorbers of the solar energy. So
we got to wrap up, Roy.
Okay. Yeah. And then water is a human right. I think we need to keep our water price low and make sure that no one's getting disconnected.
Okay, so interesting. So Ken going for more control of the regulatory environment, Roy looking to better infrastructure, and certainly there's overlap between those two. All right, question number 2 in the video format comes to us from Greg.
Hi, I'm Greg and I'm from Tamaning. My question for the senatorial candidates is, what are you going to do to bring more visitors to the island?
All right, Ken, I'd like to start with you. And you were rather bearish a few moments ago as far as the spending on what goes into tourism, but certainly tourism a critical part of our island economy. So if elected, what ideas do you have to attract, or I guess I should say re-attract visitors to Guam?
Well, one thing we have to do is we have to clean up our tourism, because in 2019, when we had record tourism, the spend was down because we were not attracting high quality tourists. We were attracting the bargain tourists. So we need to address the concerns that the high quality tourists were raising, and it was the bathrooms and the trash, and the lack of experiences here. Now, I just saw this the other day. I was down at Petey Bomb Holes, and I asked one of the tour guides, because they had all these tourists there and the bathrooms are locked. I said, where do the tourists going to the bathrooms? And he pointed out there were a couple of men squatting out there in the water just off Fish Hole.
Wow.
Fisheye. That's what the tourists are taking back. Yeah, and that's what the tourists are taking back. We need to clean up our tourist plant first, because we have a beautiful island and we have tourists coming from metropolitan areas that want to experience the nature of a tropical island. They're not getting that in Tumon. They're getting it outside of Tumon. We need to make sure that Tumon is as good as it, outside of Tumon is as good as it can be.
All right, so Roy, you were literally wearing your beautiful Sanahi. That is the emblem of our people. It's a sign of who we are, who we were, who we will be. So bringing that spirit, how do we channel that and make sure that we can use that to attract visitors to the island for the betterment of our economy?
Well, we definitely need to invest in more attraction. We definitely need to invest in our infrastructure down in Tumon. Again, we have a trash issue that continuously happens. We have beach cleanups held annually, and we also have, like, a lot of schools have their own smaller scale cleanups. But it's really a huge situation, the trash on our island. The parks, we need to invest in our parks again. A lot of our parks in EPAL, just the general parks around the island, half of them are locked up. The restrooms are inaccessible. If the restroom's accessible, only one toilet works. There's no lock on the restroom. So we definitely need to invest in parks and recreation and invest in our hotel industry, because our hotel industry is quite aged. I mean, a lot of our hotels, we only have probably Dusit Tani, who's made huge investments, and Subaki. Other than that, we really don't have anything new. I mean, we have Tagada, but the hotel industry needs to step it up, and we need to have more investment in attracting our tourists. And we just need to work with GVB and also the visitor industry, and also get the social media game changers. TikTok is a huge stepping stone for the market. I think GVB executed it well this past pandemic with getting a lot of...
Sorry, Roy, you're out of time, but
Yeah.
good thoughts, especially on TikTok. I know that's a huge thing, especially for the Asian market. All right, our third and final video question comes to us from Ira, who works in emergency services.
Hi, my name is Ira, and for the past 2 years, I've worked in emergency services. My question is for non-incumbent candidates. If elected, how would you help increase the efficiency of emergency services, especially for situations where multiple organizations have to work together?
All right, interesting question about making the process of emergency services more efficient and streamlining that. Ken, like these are often multi-agency operations. The GPD's got to get involved, GFD's got to get involved in everything. How can you actually streamline those?
Well, it used to be that way back in the 70s when we had one Department of Public Safety. And under that model, fire and police and ambulance services were all under one leadership. And now we have 3 or 4 different, we have the airport police, we have the harbor police, we have the Maine police. We've created more leadership positions without giving them the staff they need to do it. We need to get back to one model, and we need to improve the logistics, because if we were to incorporate the National Guard in it and use their helicopters, we'd have our own life flight, so that when people are seriously injured down south or extreme areas in the north, we could get them to the emergency services much faster. We need to look at how we can take our limited resources, blend them together so that we respond to emergencies with one voice instead of many.
Very well. Okay, consolidation, basically. Okay, Roy, your thoughts on emergency services? Should our people ever have to avail of them and making them run as smoothly as possible?
I think we again need to invest in the E911 system so that it is a symbiosis operation, that every call is always going to be filtered, and we can work together as a community, right? As EMS, fire department, the GPD units, and whatever units are needed for the service, because we don't want everyone to respond to one issue. We want to have a strategic response and make sure that we're not wasting resources out there. I think, again, and we're in the 21st century, I'm pretty sure there's some kind of webmaster system that can help operate our local operations here more efficiently. I think we just need to upgrade the E911 system and have all channels connected so that we can all respond as one people, one island.
There you go, centralized dispatch.
Yeah.
All right, we are out of time, unfortunately. I wish we could go on for the rest of the day, because fantastic conversation with both Roy Quinata and Ken Leongoro, representing the Democrat Party and Republicans. I got that right half the time. Well, we wish the both of you continued success as we head to the general election, and good luck to each of you and your teams and your families, because I know it takes a lot of people to run a campaign. So congratulations and good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Please stay tuned. I am going to talk to a buddy of mine, Master Noli Kaluwag, who's been now teaching Taekwondo on the island for 2 decades. We'll talk about that when we come back.